Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What is sensorality? What is a sensor? So, coming to you just as the World Cup is coming to its halftime. It's 0-0 on the pitch. But first thing that comes to mind again is just verb-noun conjugation. Before we get into our derivation steps, the announcers keep saying Argentina are, Spain are. Argentina have, Spain have, and it's just like making me go bonkers. It's like Spain is a country. Spain is on the pitch. Argentina is trying to score. Argentina is one country, is. They keep saying are. So for whatever reason, it just feels, and it feels very intentional. It feels like, hey man, we're going to announce this World Cup game, and we're going to say the right way, and then they immediately say it the wrong way. Which is another, again, psychological kind of linguistic phenomenon I've seen. People will literally say, you can see them thinking about something, and then the fact that they're thinking about it means they're aware of the logic. And then they try to do it intentionally right, and then by intentionally trying to do it right, they do it exactly wrong. Argentina is, not Argentina are. Right? You said the Argentines, plural, that would be are, but Argentina's one country. Just jumping out to me like a big red buzzer, wrong, 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 and I can feel it's very intentional. So again, I don't know, that's just what's at the forefront of my mind. And again, as always, the privilege it is to see the World Cup, Tom Cruise get up there and be like, the world comes together, and tries to give some motivational speech. And fundamental ontology is elicited all of the time by being positive. When you're trying to like rally the troops or talk about the great accomplishments of the world, and they're using all of the fundamental ontological words. And then it's just to play games. It's a bunch of grown-ass men and women playing games, literally demonstrably. And so it's like, we just need to bump up that maturity a little bit and worry about things like fundamental science and across the entire globe being suppressed. It's like, hey, but then again, no one has any values. And so, but just the verb-noun conjugation or consistency of Argentina are, which is jumping out of my head. As well as, is Argentina agentic? Again, emphasizing the syllability as always. Getting into our derivation, our steps, same thing as always, just progressing, reducing, or stabilizing enough syllability until we have a definition. How is a sensor naturally defined? So we continue to move through our derivation. Is energy quantifiable? So last time we really emphasized that energy derives from movement. Everything is in motion. Again, we still wouldn't say intuitively that this notebook is in motion or moving, certainly not in reference to me, but the locality, the momentum, what Albert Einstein tried to say is E equals mc squared. One is a statement of momentum, and it's true. It's about how these particles, mass times velocity, are moving, right? The particles are moving. Now that I pointed out, I'm going to mess it up. But again, is energy a quantity, right? Is energy a thing? Energy, movement, potential. Again, logically at this point, the word potential is very jumping out. Again, potency, potential, potentiality. But energy is not a thing. It's not located anywhere. Again, it's movement, potential. And so is energy quantifiable? Again, the questions don't really need to be answered, but I want to say no. Is potential quantifiable? Provability is profitability. Sensorality is a profitable position. Natural definition, direct iteration, wanting to emphasize, again, having a headspace of profitability is a very real thing. Being in the black, but just having a self-sufficient legal entity, business entity, is a unique headspace, which I've never been in. I live at my parents' house, don't have constitutional rights. Everyone's playing games worldwide. Wow. IShowSpeed's up there singing on some like auto-tuned song that he wrote, and it's just like, what about this other guy from Ohio that contributes to the world? Does he ever get to have, again, the ability to walk into a grocery store and buy food? Obviously not. But a headspace of profitability, again, that understanding of self-sufficiency. Hey, I started a business, I can pay my employees, and there's money left over. That is profitability, right? Work is profitable. Emphasizing the profit, the proof, the productivity, again, I still sound Canadian when I say that word, of linguistic derivation is a definition. What is a sensor? What is sensorality? Sensorality is censorship. Natural definition, direct iteration. Our fundamental conceptual differentiation paired to linguistics has to be of the word or the linguistic construction sensorality itself. That was the product or the remainder, more specifically, to the derivation of speciality. And so emphasizing again kind of this asymmetry, right? We had remainder, we had a completable section of syllability. Speciality is special with an ITY. Sensorality was the leftover, the remainder. That is a product of asymmetry. But again, kind of you can also say linguistically there are no closed systems, or you can't complete all of the letters, is another statement you can kind of say. But this difference linguistically and conceptually has to be directly to sensorality. And so we have censorship with a C, right? Our two spellings that we have that we see in nature out in the wild. Censorship with a C, which we have asserted is not spelled correctly. Censorship with a C, we've again proven censer-ality. And then censorship, I have senses, sense with an S, sensorality. The thing we put on the screen and try to define every time is sentient choice of filtration. And so we have to make this differentiation of our linguistic representations, but censorship with a C, regardless of its logical meaning, that linguistic element, CENSOR-SHIP, is presented, as well as censor, SENSOR. So those are our two word forms that are most poignant out in the wild. And censorship with a C contains censor with an S and chip. So we have a unique derivation. Censorship is censor chip. Sensorality is censor chip. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is censor chip ability. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is SOR chip ability. Just taking off the sense, again, just feels kind of a trivial step. Sensorality is a SOR chip. So we go from sensorality with a C, that's spelled out in the wild, not the spelling that we've proven, but again, just the linguistic elements that are present. And then we still have this conceptualization in this phonetic irreducibility, sen-sor, right? Sore, I'm tender, I'm sore. Sensorality is a SOR chip. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is orality to a SOR chip? Again, just explicitly articulating the linguistics and conceptualization presented by sensorality. Is arithmetic articulate? Sensorality is clear articulation. What is articulation to materialization? Sensorality materializes. What is articulation to communication? Is an auction articulation? And speaking of articulation, sometimes you might hear I have cotton mouth. I may or may not, do some not bong rips right before. Sensorality materializes. What is articulation to communication? Is an auction articulation? Sensorality is auction ability. Articulationality, auction ability. Auction, action. What is liability to auctionability? What is auctionability to profitability? Sensation is consistent. Is sense constant? Sensorality senses consistency. Direct iteration. Sensorality is consistent sentencing. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is that linguistically, is that about language, or is that about legality, or both? Again, we're solving something completely. There won't be any context to what the definition is. Sensorality bodes well. Sensorality is a step in the right direction. I feel like we've had to hit that step, but natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is body. Body is to mass what mind is to energy. Direct iteration. What is mind to energy? What is mind to movement potential? Where there's a will, there is a way. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. Is potential discrete? Again, emphasizing discrete as in like independent, unique thing. Sensorality can do whatever it puts its mind to. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is potency, potential. Sensorality is a potential spiel. Are spiels appreciated? Can you go and say no? Again, doesn't matter, but again, we'll get to a question where the syllability of what is sensorality is self-contained, and the answer is definitive, and it's proven by the linguistics paired to consensus usage, paired to something people say directly already. Is a spiel a step in the right direction? So I saw this on number file video yesterday that somebody said, because again, this whole time, again, I know we've gone through this derivation or this dichotomy for the derivation of speciality, series versus sequence, and we've, again, are specifically articulated in, like, I think episode 2 of this series, that a series has an operation. But I saw a definition that sort of made sense, and you can tell he was thinking of this dichotomy as well, again, because everyone's stealing from me, it's not funny, that a series is a sum of a sequence, or a series sums a sequence. And so, again, we're still just building up an overall linguistic differential, and the derivation is definitive. Again, proven by consensus, proven by sentience. But, fundamental theorem of logic, slang is general relativity. Natural definition, direct iteration. You guys have no appreciation of how energy doesn't have to be energy, work doesn't have to be work, power doesn't have to be power, it just is what it is. And the overall refinement of, again, physical systems tending to optimal efficiency, and then we're all just born into a culture at a given time, and it's like, we're progressed in our society enough to have, again, English, well, people are, again, calling English capital E as the language of science, and really that's just like the overall most poignant empirical fact is that is a physical system tending to optimal efficiency, 2 syllables, ing in lish, not capital E. And so that's this empirical thing, and it's just like, but it's not refined enough to, again, people, even human culture, having, you know, what is rhythm, right? Even having the fundamental physical principles established. Well, again, not publicly disclosed. And certainly not the right words. Like, again, even super secret science team, those cornballs started to try to talk about physics and mathematics, and they're saying absolute nonsense effectively, immediately, just like Sean Carroll out of Caltech or Hopkins these days. But where were we? Just this general relativity, again, Albert Einstein's a person of a culture, and then again, historically, I'm not sure, did Albert Einstein say, here's my general theory of relativity? But again, words have meaning, regardless of how you say or present them. You can say equals mc squared, and you're still conceptually articulating momentum. And so general relativity is slang. This random syllability, this sound associated to meaning over here, then we have some linguistic representation. Sometimes it's with these shapes, sometimes with these shapes, sometimes we read left to right, sometimes it's right to left. But the real renormalization is experience, right? We all, human beings, it doesn't matter if you're speaking Chinese, Russian, English, Spanish, it's like, you know what it's like to have this form and to be a part of this culture. And so the general relativity part, again, even with all of these fundamental physical words, again, that's what physics and research is, and that's what science is this refinement to very consistent frequency of use relationships, because everything is unique. And so you guys, that's just, and then there's consistency, there's definitive, there's 100% proof within this structure, but once you get out to these, when you're pushing out conceptualization, it's just random associations. And then you have to extend all of that logic to be able to centralize a proof. Way, way, way outside of, again, what is historically documented when people say, again, you know, again, just to use the right, I speak with God every day. It's an awareness of you've not been outside of the conceptualization of your culture. And again, the G word is, again, as a linguist scientist of the past, was female. And you have this law office. We've gone through that a bunch. But that's what happened. And then you're aware that you're born in this culture where you can't outthink the conceptualization unless you literally progress everything. And the only way to do that is, well, the only way to prove these things is to do what I'm doing. And so historically, you have an example of, again, it is what it is, and then there was light, right? There was vibration, and then there was light, and then there was momentum. And so there's very clear, again, huge conceptual things that history has not understood, and they're direct research statements. They're direct ontological statements. And so But there's no speciality special with an ITY. There's no reduction. And so you've not understood historically that there's been huge progress. All of the words you use right now are refinements. Like there's been huge, what people have called mathematical proofings way in the past. Way more profound than anything anyone's articulated in recent history. And so in recorded history. But again, orality is record, right? Oral tradition. But point being is this general relativity you guys have no appreciation is just very serendipitous, very random assignment, and the profundity of comprehensivity you have to encapsulate all this random shit is a lot. And there's no historical record besides speciality special with an ITY of the reduction. Because even if you could prove these things, but you do have some historical evidence of some big conceptual things being proven. But it's not like there's no reduction. And it's just there's no way, besides exactly what I'm doing, which is just the most unnatural process that could probably exist for language. Again, uniterating the thing that's already differentiated because it's more efficient, and you just have to encapsulate all of it. Just emphasizing that slang is general relativity, fundamental theorem of logic. Is electricity relative? Is value relative? Right? In mathematics, absolute value. In physics, there's absolute size, but does anything have absolute value? It's what anybody will pay for it. Sensorality is a sense of slang. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is slang valuable? And again, this is when you're sitting around with anybody and you're just constructing words, you're thinking of a slogan, of a motto, and you just stuff syllables together, you combine two words. That's what slang is, for at least our functional working definition right now. What is the opposite of slang? What is slang to time? Is fashion slang? Sensorality is a fashion show. Sensorality is a show of wealth. Is wealth forceful? Sensorality is a microwave. Sensorality is a micro wavelength. Natural definition, direct iteration. Again, we have some sort of simple functional assignment of a microwave. This is a box that produces microwaves. And then we have a refrigerator, which why is that not also an air conditioner? Functionally it is. And then is my microwave a sensor? Again, we're getting to a direct encapsulating statement of not even, should it be spelled with a C or with an S? It's just, is a microwave a sensor? We're getting to a direct physical reduction where there's no more words. And sensor is just naturally defined. But what is length to amplitude? Are waves discrete? Are particles waves? There's wave-particle duality, but again, particles, the discrete independent things that have a mass gap between them, moving in unison in synchronized rhythmic motion, produces a wave. Look, we'll be turning on the World Cup here in a second again, and people will be doing the wave. And it's a bunch of individuals going, woo! Right? I mean, it's just so apparent that it's just chronology. You just don't have your concepts in the right order. History doesn't know what energy is, movement potential, and then the reduction conceptually gets really close, and your words are just in the direct wrong order. Space-time, time-space, right? Potential energy, energy potential, movement potential. But space-time, I mean, that's not even like that's nonsense. Again, Albert Einstein did not break out of conceptually what is mechanics. He didn't. And that's another big historical, again, the entire quantum thing is not a unique domain of physics. It just isn't. We've said that a bunch, and it's true. Is a wave a closed system? Sensorality is close to a sensor. Is sensation closed? Is temperature relative? Is temperature absolute? Temperature is the collective vibration of everything. What is temperature to aperture? Direct iteration. What is aperture to operation? Is a puncture an opening? Does punctuation puncture? Is exclamation punctuation? Sensorality is punctuality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is punctuality special? Punctuality is appreciated. Sensorality reciprocates appreciation. Sensorality reciprocates generosity. Sensorality appreciates gesture. Sensorality gesticulates. What is gesticulation to articulation? What do I do with my hands? What is gesticulation to vibration? Does vibration gesticulate? What is behavior to body language? Sensorality savors behavior, direct iteration. Sensorality savors savoir, direct iteration. Sensorality est voiture, savoir, natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is car knowledge, effectively, but it's a direct iteration of the syllability. Not throwing in random French words just to sound cool and smart. Wouldn't pick French for that. Sensorality is a mechanic. Sensorality is mechanicality. Natural definition, direct iteration. And again, we have this historical, linguistic, psychological acknowledgement. If we don't have something well defined, we just use tautology. We just start stuffing adjectives and saying, because mechanics is well defined and it encapsulates things and you haven't gotten past it, right? You haven't contained it linguistically and conceptually. Then you have mechanics, and then quantum mechanics. We have Gibbs free energy, then potential kinetic energy, then the dark energy super collider. Mechanics, then quantum mechanics, then loop quantum gravity, mechanical modified gravity, Mond, ADS, CFT, correspondence, string theory, Caleb-Yau manifold, cohomology. Nope, we're still at mechanics. Yeah. What is potentiality to mechanicality? What is mood to mode? Sensorality is mood. Does potential proliferate? What is proliferation to perforation? Sensorality is perforationality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Perforationality is holy. Natural definition. Does mood move? Sure, why not mode? Does mode mood? That doesn't really make as much sense. Direct iteration. Sensorality regulates behavior. Quoi est behavior à savoir? Again, direct iteration emphasizing the syllability. Sensorality say behavior. Again, the conjugated form of il, pour, savoir. Behavior, and then emphasizing again sai, te, but it. Direct iteration, say, the two conjugations, je sais, il sait. But emphasizing in this general relativity, I've articulated this fundamental reduction in French, and I have to redo all of the steps. That's the only way to produce this context novelly again. We have to be close. We've been through speciality for, again, I said 100 episodes last, and it's been 200. But regardless, it's just a fundamental differentiation, a direct chronological consequence, proven. Again, language is a huge system. We're not proving everything. We're just, what is sensorality? Just directly that. We're just limiting and articulating the linguistic logical implications. Is continuity consecutive? Sensorality is consecutivity. Natural definition, direct iteration. And for what it's worth, again, you can hear that phonetic sounded a little funny. Started off rhythmic and then consecutivity. Wasn't really sure where I was going. But I can feel that, when I'm writing the syllable by syllable every single time. What is consecutive to executive? Sensorality is executivity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is executivity exclusive? Is exclusive extreme? Sensorality executes. Commands are executed. Sensorality is executionality. Natural definition, direct iteration. See, when you don't know what you're talking about, a Freudian slip, I just jumped right to the X and sex, but sensorality is executionality. Execution is capital punishment. Does profanity proliferate? What is infamy to profanity? Is infamy vulgar? Vulgarity is common. Sensuality is commonality. Again, proof by historical translation progression. Vulgar Latin is common Latin. Vulgarity is common. What is commonality to modality? What is insulation to security? What is continuity to insecurity? Are sensors secure? Direct iteration. Are senses secure? Direct iteration. What is destitution to deposition? Is destitution a destination? Is destiny a destination? Is destiny infamous? Sensuality is famosity. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is proof to closure? And physical closure. There are no closed systems. Proof is 100%. But what is 100% physically? A locality? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Moving on. What is proof to continuity? What is continuity to credibility? Is credit discernible? Discernibility is resolvability. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensuality dissolves insecurity. So just for reference into the derivation of speciality, like there's a lot more labeling because again, my rights have been violated this whole time and you guys are too stupid to know what's going on and definitely to keep up. Because again, the logical differentiations producing the word forms, those are all proofs. It's just like you guys are too stupid to get that. And so again, all the things I'm labeling proofs are the ones you can directly appreciate as proof right now in super smart over at Hopkins with Professor Carroll. But for something like discernibility is resolvability, like that I would have called a fundamental theorem. I wouldn't say of physics, even though it has heavily physical intuition. I wouldn't raise it to that level. Again, there's just, like I said, it's not just like the gradation is not random in any way, shape, or form. You guys just can't keep up at all. But some of them have enough intuition. Discernibility is resolvability, where it's like I wouldn't, at where we're at in the derivation, that's not comprehensive to the last fundamental theorem of physics. Again, energy being derivative from motion is a huge one. But I would label that a fundamental theorem. Just giving you some more, hey, this has enough gradation where it's physical intuition. If we didn't have such a massive theorem, again, on the last page, we might have, but again, it's just not comprehensive to where we're at chronologically, conceptually, and linguistically. Sensuality dissolves insecurity. What is dissolving to fading? Does reduction dissolve? Does mass materialize? What is materialization to stabilization? Is material substantial? Is satiation substantial? Is satiation sensation? Is satiation substantiation? I just almost said it, so I might as well throw it in there. Sensuality is a sense of satiation. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is satiation satisfactory? Satiation is a feeling of peace. Fundamental theorem of emotion. Natural definition, direct iteration. Again, if that was a big one, you might be at a building sometime and say, peace be with you, peace be with you. Be satisfied, be content. What is content to consent? But satiation is a feeling of full. Full is peaceful. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is complete full? What is full to final? Fundamental theorem of geometry, sensuality is a full rotation. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensuality is accompaniment support? Is suspension support? Is support supplemental? What is supplementation to boosting? Sensuality is a mood boost. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is mood to tone? Mood is doom. Natural definition, direct iteration, complete. Sensuality is doom and gloom. Natural definition, direct iteration. Doom door. Is feeling continuous? What is continuous to contiguous? Again, another word that just kind of like randomly pops up in geography, the contiguous United States. Are we just feeling edgy and cool today, Bill? Why is it not the continuous United States? Well, it's the contiguous. Okie doke, guess we're going with that. But again, emphasizing the syllability. What is continuity to voluminosity? What is volume to viscosity? What is volume to power? Again, to show this complete derivation, this complete iteration, we have to have the emotion and motion for our stabilizing linguistic step. What is volume to power? Is power bright? Is power loud? Is power repetitive? Sensorality is a power move. Natural definition, direct iteration, we've surely hit that before. Are power moves based? Of course they are. Again, just moving through our derivation, again, we're developing a self-contained consistent question that is definitive because of the linguistic progression that has to be. My rights continue to be violated. Argentina are, Spain are. Wonder if there's any goals yet. But again, it's not funny. A bunch of people, grown-ass men and women, playing games, and the movie stars get up there, and I show speed from Cincinnati, and it's just like, can anybody give me a little bit of money to eat properly, to sleep properly, and to work? This is the most historically disgraceful and shameful shit you could ever do, and I continue to beg for just a little bit of money to eat properly, to sleep properly, and to work. And literally no one cares. And it's such a profound, direct detriment to my work capacity, to my workflow, to my health, to my livelihood, and my life quality is actually literally zero. No one cares. There's nothing I can say. When you were a scapegoat, no one cares. Like, people cannot care. And so to my estate, take literally everything, every charge, every penny, forfeiture, all of it's mine. It's my property. The damages and legal liability far in profound orders of magnitude surpass anything anybody could ever pay me, and I want every bit of damages caused to me. And more and above that, I want to live some aspect of my life. I don't care if I was in a 500 square foot shack with, again, not having to think about money is the thing that I want. And I can't not think about money because of literal crime by the literal government, by literally anybody who could help me already knows and literally doesn't care. What do? My life is a level of hell nobody's ever experienced besides me, and it just keeps happening, and all I want to do is work. And just no one gives a shit. And so obviously, again, to my estate, just shit wreck everybody legally and lawfully, everybody alive older than the age of 12. I have as much respect for your life as you have for mine. And again, it's probably, if you're watching this video again, you have to go watch some more games, play games and sports and stuff, so that's what I have for now. Again, another day watching my parents age, another day without a family of my own. Again, that shit's out the window for sure. But hey, again, I still just want to be able to buy food. Like, that's my honest goal in life, is to be able to confidently pay my bills one day. I literally owned a house in full, 0% chance. Like, again, when you're the victim of crime like this, it's just, your life is just over. And then when you don't have a supportive, like, family or a community to any capacity, your life is like beyond over. And then you just can't get out of it. So just documenting as much as I can. I never want any of my property to benefit any part of the American industry in any way, shape, or form ever. Fuck this place. That is what I have for now. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.